The year is 750 AD. You're standing on a stone road in the middle of a city that 1,200 years from now will be so swallowed by the jungle that no one will believe it ever existed. You're not a king. You're not a priest. You're not one of the warriors with jade in their teeth. You're just a farmer. Your name has been erased from history, but today you will witness something that 1,200 years from now will be called the mystery humanity never solved. You live in a city called Tikal. 60,000 people live here. That's more than in London at this exact moment in history. And every single one of them, including you, is about to disappear. But not today. Today the sun rises, and you have work to do. Today you're going to live one day in the life of the Maya.
You wake up at 4 in the morning. It's still dark. Everyone is waking up. By mid-morning, the jungle becomes unbearably hot, and all the hard work has to be done before the sun fully rises. You sleep on a woven mat on a low platform of packed earth. Your house has one room. The walls are wooden poles tied together with vines. The roof is woven from palm leaves. Your wife is already awake. She's kneeling by the hearth, grinding corn on a stone slab called a metate. She got up an hour before you, and she won't be done for a long time. This is the most important sound in your entire civilization, the grinding of corn. In every house, in every village, in every city across the Maya world, women are kneeling over stones right now, turning yesterday's harvest into today's survival. Scientists will later calculate that a Maya woman spent 5 hours a day grinding corn, every day, for her entire adult life. You step outside, the air smells of wet leaves, smoke, and some flower you can't name. Your 3 children are still asleep. You had 5. 2 didn't make it past the age of 2, and no one in the village calls it a tragedy. It's just something you don't talk about. You step back inside. There's no table. You sit down right on the dirt floor by the hearth. Your wife hands you a warm tortilla wrapped around black beans. You eat standing up. Then she passes you a cup of a drink that 1,200 years from now, the whole world will fall in love with. Cacao. Bitter. Foamy. Mixed with chili and ground corn. Not sweet. Sugar doesn't exist in your world yet. You drink it because the gods drink it. You drink it because the priests say it carries messages to the afterlife. You drink it because without it, you simply won't make it to the fields. And of course, you know these beans aren't just food. In a few hours, at the great market of Tikal, one of these beans will buy you a ripe tomato. 10 beans, a rabbit. 100 beans, and you can buy a slave, a living human being. But right now, at dawn, you're not thinking about any of that. You're just drinking your cacao every morning. You put down the empty cup, you pick up your digging stick, and without saying a word, you step out of the house and head toward the fields. On your way, you pass things your descendants will pay thousands of dollars just to see with their own eyes. You walk past a limestone pyramid as tall as a 15-story building, 47 meters to be exact, painted blood red. At the top, a temple, where today a priest will pierce his own tongue, not with a needle, with a stingray spine, long, barbed, sacred. Blood will drip onto paper made from tree bark, and then that paper will be burned. The smoke is food for the gods. If the gods aren't fed, the rain stops. If the rain stops, you starve. So the priest bleeds. You don't look at the pyramid. You see it every day. To you, it's just the place where people live who don't have to work the fields. You pass a stone monument covered in symbols, curls, faces, dots, little lines. You can't read them. Almost no one can, except the scribes who train for this from childhood. The system is so complex that scholars in your future will spend 150 years just to begin deciphering. The words on this stone tell the story of your king's victory over a neighboring city 20 years ago. You remember it, but you can't read it. A man walks past you carrying a load of obsidian blades on his back, volcanic glass, sharper than any steel that exists anywhere on Earth in this century, sharper than the scalpels surgeons will use many years from now. Your civilization never invented metal tools. You arrive at the field the moment the sun rises above the trees. And yeah, the work is brutal. What you practice is called slash and burn farming. Last season, you cut down a patch of jungle and set it on fire. The ash fertilizes the soil. You plant corn, beans, and squash together in a single mound. The corn gives the beans something to climb. The beans pull nitrogen into the soil. The squash spreads wide leaves across the ground and chokes out the weeds. You didn't learn this from a book. Your father taught you. His father taught him. The system is so good that modern agronomists in the 21st century will study it and admit they can't improve it. You work for 4 hours. You sweat. You drink water from a hollow gourd. You don't really think about much. Sometimes a small jaguar passes by the edge of the field. You've seen his tracks, but never the animal itself. You leave him offerings of meat. He leaves you alone. It's an arrangement. By around 11 in the morning, with the sun already high in the sky, you're done for the day. Tired, you head back to the city. You head back into the city. The market is alive. You don't have money yet, just shouting, gestures, the smell of fried fish, the sound of parrots in woven cages. A woman is selling salt that traveled 200 kilometers on a porter's back, because the Maya never used the wheel for transport and never domesticated a single animal large enough to ride. You stop at a stall and trade a few beans from your last harvest for a handful of salt. You wrap it carefully in a piece of cloth. Your wife will be pleased. Tonight's dinner will have a taste of something special. You see a noble walk past. You know he's a noble because his forehead is flat. When he was a baby, his parents pressed 2 wooden boards against his skull and tightened them every day for months until the bone reshaped itself permanently. He has jade inlays in his front teeth, tiny green stones embedded into the enamel with a hollow bone and crushed quartz. The dentist who did it had no anesthesia. The procedure was a status symbol. He survived it. That's part of what makes him noble. You see something stranger, too. A child whose parents deliberately hung a small bead in front of his eyes, so that as he grows, his vision crosses. Cross-eyed people here are considered beautiful. The gods are cross-eyed, so the children of those who can afford to shape them should be too. You don't have crossed eyes. You don't have jade in your teeth. You have a round forehead. Everyone knows who you are just by looking at you, and that's fine. You hear the crowd before you see the court. There is a ball game today. 2 teams of players, hips wrapped in thick leather padding, are trying to drive a solid rubber ball through a stone ring set high on a wall. The ball weighs 4 kilograms. It is harder than a modern bowling ball. The players cannot use their hands. They cannot use their feet. Only hips, elbows, knees. Just imagine, if this ball hit a player in the chest, his ribs would cave inward and he would simply die from the impact. You stand in the crowd. You shout. The game is fast, points are rare, and the players are bleeding where the ball has struck them. You don't know which version of the game this is. Sometimes the game is just a game. Sometimes it is something else. Sometimes the losers, or the winners, no one is entirely sure which, walk up the steps of the temple afterward and have their hearts cut out with an obsidian knife while still beating. The blood is offered to the gods. The same gods who send the rain. But today the game ends and everyone walks home. Today was just a game, and everyone is still alive. It's around 3 in the afternoon when you head back home. You sit down in the shade, your wife is weaving, your oldest son is learning to count. The Maya number system has only 3 symbols, a dot for 1, a bar for 5, a shell for 0. Your civilization invented the concept of 0 independently, on its own, earlier than almost anyone else on Earth. The Romans, who at this very moment in history are running an empire on the other side of a sea you've never heard of, don't have a 0. They won't have one for centuries. Your son, who is 6 years old and has dirt on his face, understands a mathematical concept that the most powerful empire in your hemisphere does not. You look up at the sky as the afternoon light shifts. You know the names of the stars. You know when Venus will rise. Your priests have calculated the orbit of Venus with an accuracy of within 2 hours across a span of 500 years. They have built a calendar so precise it tracks time millions of years into the future. They know exactly when the next eclipse will happen. You don't know the math, but you know that when the priest says, "The sky will go dark on the day of the jaguar," the sky goes dark on the day of the jaguar. You have never wondered how he knows, but you believe him.
It's around 6 in the evening. The sun is low. Cooking fires have been lit all across the city. Smoke rises in thin columns from thousands of houses at the same time. But something is wrong, and you've been noticing it for a while now, though you don't say it out loud. The rains are late this year. They were late last year, too. The reservoir at the center of the city, the one the kings spent generations building, is lower than you have ever seen it. Last week, the priest cut his tongue and burned the paper. The rain still didn't come. Your neighbor's field failed this season. He's eating from his stores. The stores won't last until the next harvest. He hasn't said anything, but you've seen his children growing thinner. You don't know this, but right now, in this very century, the climate is shifting across the entire Maya world. A series of multi-year droughts is beginning. The kings will respond by building more temples, performing more rituals, demanding more sacrifices. None of it will work. In 150 years, this city, this market, this ball court, this pyramid will be empty. The jungle will swallow them so completely that when European explorers stumble through here in the 1840s, they will refuse to believe that the ancestors of the local people built any of it. Scholars in your future will spend 2 centuries arguing about why. Drought, war, soil exhaustion, political collapse. The thing is, it was all of it at once. A civilization doesn't die from one wound. It dies from many small ones that no one stopped in time. But tonight, you don't know any of this, and you don't give it a second thought.
You eat by the hearth. You sit with your wife. Your children are falling asleep in a row on their mats. The jungle outside is loud. Frogs, insects, something larger moving through the undergrowth. You aren't afraid. You've lived with these sounds your whole life. You lie down. Above your roof, through a small gap in the thatch, you can see a single star. You don't know its name in any language that will survive. You're just resting after another ordinary day. You will die in this city. Your children will die in this city. Your grandchildren may be the last to live here, before the people scatter into the forest and the temples are left to the roots and the rain. 1,200 years from now, a man in a small room lit by a glowing screen will be watching a video about you. He will know things you couldn't possibly imagine. He won't know how to grind corn. He won't know which star is Venus. He will have the answers to questions you would never have thought to ask. And he will have lost the answers to questions you knew before you learned to walk. You were not a king. You are not remembered as a hero, but you were here. And the city you built, the city the world forgot, is still waiting beneath the trees.